Example 5 lets us kind of just recap all our different ways to show that triangles are congruent. So if we look at the first pair of triangles here, we have two pair of angles that are congruent and one pair of sides. Since the pair of sides here is in between those two pair of angles, that's the included angle. So we have angle, right? That's one pair. We have one pair of sides, and then we have a pair of angles. So that's angle, side, angle, right? So these two triangles would be congruent by the angle, side, angle congruence criterion. Okay, the second side here, here's one pair of angles, or I'm sorry, one pair of sides. Here's a second pair of sides. And then here's a third pair of sides that's congruent. They give us three pair of sides that are congruent. So that's side, side, side. And that tells us those two triangles are congruent. Over here, here's one pair of angles. Right? They both have the two arcs. Here's the second pair of angles. They both have the one arc. And then here's one pair of sides. They both have that one hash mark. Okay, that pair of sides is not included in between those two angles. So it's going to be angle, angle, side. We go around the triangle, angle, angle, side. And over here here's a pair of sides. Okay, here's a pair of angles. And then here's a pair of sides. Okay, so on this one, the angle is the included angle, but over here it's not. So on this one, you end up with, you don't have the included angles. This would have to be, these two angles would have to be congruent. So you do not have a pair of included angles. So this one we're going to have to say not enough information, not possible to determine. Okay, and again, the reason is if you were to label these, right, this one comes out to side, angle, side. Right, that angle is between those two sides, but this one comes out to angle, side, side. All right, which we can't use. Okay, and so since that angle, these angles don't match up. These aren't corresponding angles. They don't correspond with each other. So we have to say not possible. Okay, and then part B here is a proof. So let me refresh just to get rid of the writing on there. I think I hit the home button instead. Okay, and let me hit the over button here because there's a part B. So it says prove that segment FH is congruent to segment JL here. And it gives us some information. Okay, I'm going to click solution so I don't have to write it all out here. So it gives us that JH is congruent to KL. Right, segment JH is congruent, segment GH is congruent to segment KL. Angle GFH is congruent to angle KJL. And angle FGH is congruent to angle JKL. So those are your givens, so that's what you're going to write first. Okay, those three givens. Okay, and again, I don't know why they named them differently down here, right? You can rename this angle F and angle J, and angle G and angle K. I don't know why they wouldn't be consistent though. Okay, but those are your givens. So we have two pair of angles, two pair of corresponding angles that are congruent, angle F and angle J, and then angle G and angle K. And then we have one pair of sides that are congruent, GH and KL. So that's going to be angle, angle, side is going to tell us those triangles are congruent. Okay. And then once we know the triangles are congruent, we know the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So since we know the triangles are congruent, we know FH is going to be congruent to, that's not going to work. We know segment FH is going to be congruent to segment JL. And that's the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, we don't know that until we know the triangles are congruent. Once we use angle, angle, side and know the triangles are congruent, we know the corresponding parts are going to be congruent as well.